right after this. It's time for us to take a break, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're listening to a man who's almost intelligent. Very close. Welcome back. It's probably offensive. One hell of a show. Yeah.
Welcome back. Before we went to break, I was talking about our current society, where people want to push this whole genderless society, which is a nonsensical idea, because we're not a genderless society. All right, men and women are different, not just on the outside, which you can clearly see that men are bigger than women usually on average. I don't want people telling me, what about this guy, he's a pipsqueak, or what about this woman, she's 6'5". Those are exceptions. I'm just saying in general. Guys have penises and scrotums and testicles on the outside. Their breasts are small, unless you're a fat guy. Fat guys have big boobs. Some of them do, some of them don't. Some fat guys don't even have big boobs. But guys' chest is supposed to be more muscular, not, the fat. The guys with boobs is just because they're, lack of exercise and overeating. That's not really, the natural figure for a guy. To be so fat it appears that he has breasts like a chick. But anyway, women have vaginas, hips, breasts. That's just on the outside. Not to mention uteruses. Guys can't have a baby. We don't have a uterus. There's no point in being mad about it or arguing about it. If you want to, you can argue with God. If you don't believe he exists, then you don't have anyone to argue with about it. But, men and women are different. Men have testosterone. More of testosterone. Women have estrogen. Okay? They're more emotional than we are. But what I was talking about is all of a sudden Hollywood is starting to make these movies with the women being in lead roles, which there's nothing wrong with, but I just don't like seeing them do remakes like Ghostbusters and taking the storyline and just putting all women in it. And it's not even a sequel or anything, not even related to the original movie. Just another Ghostbusters with women in it instead of guys. Just be original. Create a different storyline and put women in it and make them the hero. There's plenty of movies where Angelina Jolie is kicking ass, or Charlize Theron. Not only women who can kick ass, but they're hot chicks, good looking women kicking ass, which is really not likely to be the case in real life, but that's what it is. They got these female superheroes and the X-Men and Avengers, so I have no problem with women kicking ass or being the hero. I just don't like them taking movies that have already been created years ago and then saying, let's do a remake and throw some women in it. Let's change all the characters around. And to me, it's the movie is already written and cast and years old. Leave it at that. If you want to make a sequel, make a sequel. If you want to make women the star of the sequel, do so. But stop it with the remakes and changing the characters. You're just caving in, to the our society of people who want to make it a genderless society, which is the single dumbest thing I've ever heard. We just need to accept our differences in the life instead of trying to ignore that they exist. It's like people who say, "Oh, well, I don't see color. I'm colorblind." That's stupid. I know on the surface it sounds good. It sounds like, oh, this person is not a racist. They said they were colorblind. But there's nothing wrong with color. You don't need to ignore it. You don't have to be colorblind. Just accept that other people are different than you. Doesn't mean they're better than you or worse than you. You need to judge people on an individual basis. Okay? You don't need to ignore my skin color. You should just accept I'm brown. Okay? It's okay for me to be brown. You don't have to ignore it. You don't have to say I'm colorblind. No, you're not. You're just pretending to be. What you mean is you're not a racist. Oh, I'm not a racist. That's fine. That's good. But to say I'm colorblind is stupid. Because it's like saying, I'm just not even going to acknowledge who you are. I'm not going to acknowledge you're a guy. I'm not going to acknowledge that you're black. To me, you're just a person. No, I'm not just a person. I'm a black person. Okay? I'm a man. All right? Don't ignore that. Just accept it. It's fine. I accept who you are. I'm only concerned about whether you're a terrible person or a decent human being, not trying to ignore the fact that you're a woman or you're white or Indian, or that you have a red dot on your forehead. I usually will ignore that, but one time I asked this Indian person, what's that red dot mean? And she told me. I don't even remember what she said right now, but she told me about the red dot. And no, it's not a hidden camera and they're taking pictures of people. That's not that's not what it is. It's a custom that like I said, I don't remember what she said. But I was in a bar with this Indian woman one time and she was chit-chatting with me. But she was a little tipsy. I think we both were. Or I probably wouldn't have asked her why the red dot. Because she didn't have a red dot. She had a scar on her forehead where the red dot used to be. And I asked her, how'd you get that scar? She said she tripped and hit her head on the corner of a coffee table. And she said she had taken the red dot off because her parents were getting on her nerves about the red dot. She was an Indian woman, and she was grew up here in America. Her parents moved here from India. They wanted her to keep that red dot on her forehead, and she's like, "No, I'm not gonna keep the red dot. I don't like the red dot. Okay, I don't agree with the red dot. Plus, it's my forehead. I can do what I want with it." And she said she turned around and tripped and hit her forehead right where the red dot used to be, and she has a little scar there. But anyway, I asked her about the red dot. She told me about it, and since that time, I have forgotten what the red dot means. So a lot of good it done to ask. I was just curious. I don't care one way or another if you wear a red dot. The turbans are a little odd to me, especially here in America. I can understand you wrapping up your head if you're in the burning desert and this is the best way to keep your head from overheating. But when you're here in America, especially in these northern states where it gets cold, maybe the turban to keep your head warm. Maybe it works both ways. It keeps your head cool in the summer and warm. Maybe they got a little fan or a heater under the turban. Oh man, I might be on to something now. Maybe there's a little fan under the turban, so when it's warm, to click the fan on. Yeah, but knowing these guys, they probably got a little gun or a machete under there, because you know how these Middle Eastern guys are. They like to chop people's heads off for dumb shit. So they probably got a tiny machete under there in case you say something they don't like what I'm saying right now. Oh, I tickle myself. That was off the cuff. I hadn't prepared this kind of material, but that's cool. But one guy told me this, and this is related, that America has never been invaded, and that doesn't mean it's never going to happen. But America hasn't been invaded. And the reason that is because the American citizens have guns and will shoot people. As you can see, we've shot each other enough. Cops shooting people, police officers accidentally shooting people, or at least they say it's an accident. Or I meant to reach for my taser, but I reached for my pistol and shot someone to death. We got hillbillies shooting folks and for jogging down the street. Oh, this guy looks suspicious. And then they get convicted and they're surprised. Like, what the hell am I in jail for? All I did was kill this black guy and he was running through our neighborhood and we didn't like it. But anyway, I digress. I get off on these tangents and I just roll with it. My point was that, freedom of speech, is something that they don't have in a lot of countries. You can't be on a podcast in certain countries and talk about certain people, or they'll come to find you and chop your head off. But in America, we got guns. You can't just go and chop someone's head off just because you want to. That's not a good enough reason. You might have to catch a bullet in a turban trying to chop somebody's head off in America. You don't know who's packing the heat in the U.S. Okay? We don't play that over here. People are packing AR-15s. I mean, they go to riots or protests. Even kids who are not even allowed to legally buy an AR-15 apparently can buy one, murder people, and then get away with it. So some people are not even going to have a consequence for carrying a weapon. So I caution the Middle Easterners who think I can just chop off anyone's head that I want to because they said something I didn't like. Not in the U.S. you can't, buddy. Anyway, moving on. There's a story that was in the news not too long ago that I seen that I thought I might want to mention on the podcast, and that was that there was a lady on an airplane, a passenger, who was reported by the guy who was sitting next to her that she was breastfeeding. Now, you ready for this? He didn't report her for breastfeeding a baby. She was breastfeeding a cat. Breastfeeding her cat, not a kitten. It wasn't a little baby cat. It was a regular, full-grown cat, house cat. And she actually had her boob out and stuck it in the cat's mouth. And was letting the cat suck on her boob. On the plane. And I seen the video of it. Actually, I actually seen the video. I had heard about it on the news, but I hadn't seen the video. There's actually a video of this lady with her boob out, and she's got a cat all wrapped up and swaddled up like a baby. And the cat is, sucking on her boob. And the guy